Hey guys, so hope you're doing good. In this video, I want to specifically talk about something that I was talking about yesterday with my appointment setter and with my VA, right? Because if you get to understand this structure and if you know how to optimize this process, your VAs and appointment setters are going to bring in a lot of money, right? The return on investment will be insane. I can tell you right now. Okay. So to actually get to understand what I'm talking about is the funnel from actually profile qualification to a close, right? So stranger to a loyal customer. We're not going to talk about like the process of like the service delivery part. I'm only going to talk about the process that you need to get to understand and that you need to optimize and refine in order to make sure that every single step is going to be optimized like 10 out of 10, right? What I want to start with is actually that this is a funnel that you need to understand if you have an outbound campaign, right? If you are doing outreach yourself, you're doing something wrong. Stop doing that, right? Why are you doing outreach yourself? You need to make sure that you hire a virtual assistant who does the outreach for you and that you hire an appointment setter that does the conversation part, booking call part, and show up part, right? So most people could have like two virtual assistants that do the appointment setting part as well. But what I would recommend is do one VA, one appointment setter. So one appointment setter can focus on like all the conversations and one VA can focus on all the outreach and the profile qualification, right? So when it comes to this funnel, there are 6 different steps, right? The first step is profile qualification. So what you do is whenever you go to a post of someone and you want to do outreach, let's say they got a value post and a lot of people reacted like setter if they want to become a setter, right? What you do is you qualify people on profile, right? Look to their name, look to their like photos and their profile picture. Based on that, you're going to make a quick decision if you're going to send them an outreach message, right? You could be doing that very fast because that's not like really important. But make sure you get to understand that process. That's something that the VA needs to take care of, right? The VA is going to send the outreach message then. Let's say he does like 200 a day. You could also have like 2 VAs, so they do like 400 a day. What I have is like I have one VA that only does the outreach part and I have one appointment setter that actually does all the 5 steps, right? So whenever there is a problem within the outreach part, you need to make sure that you're gonna have a conversation with the virtual assistant on what is going wrong, what the current pain is that you need to solve for your own funnel, right? So this structure will actually make it unreasonable for you to not succeed with your virtual assistant and appointment setter, right? So whenever you have an appointment setter, like step 3 would be like step 1 would be profile qualification, sending the outreach message, making sure that people respond, like having the conversation. That is what the appointment setter does. Booking a call, show up rate, because the show up rate is totally relying on how the appointment setter set the appointment, right? If that makes sense. Because like when people don't show up, it's not that they're not interested, it's that they forgot it, right? So when they forgot it, you didn't build up an emotional connection with them. And the way to make sure you increase your showing rate is to talk about personalized stuff. That is the only way to increase the show up rate. If you want to increase this to like 90 to 100%, make sure that you talk about personal stuff with your people, right? Don't have a robotic conversation. Make sure that you talk about like things that they like to talk about, because that is the way they're going to remember you. The only way. And then I take the heel Nick because I do the closing part. So it is my job to make sure those people get close, right? So let's say this could be a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. This could be a 3 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, right? That means there is a problem within here, a pain. If one of those chains, if one of those steps is not optimized as it needs to be, there's a problem. The steps after that will not be able to pursue, to actually make sure that you gain the result from it, right? So let's say the profile qualification is perfect. The outreach message, perfect. You get a 10 to 15% response rate. That's good. The appointment setter books a call, right? But then the show up rate is bad. Like it's only 10 to 20%. That is extremely bad, right? I don't have the ability to close a lot of people because nobody shows up, right? Let's say the profile qualification is good, but my VA is not doing the consistent outreach every single day, right? He's doing like 20, 200, 19, 80, 0, 120. My appointment setter is never able to have consistent conversations and book consistent calls because the outreach is not consistent. So you need to make sure that every single step is optimized. Every single step is optimized. And the way to do that is to hop on a call daily with your virtual assistant and your appointment setter. You need to make sure that those people operate, because you have two options. You have your first option is to make sure that you do everything yourself. So you know it will be a 10 out of 10, right? If you do it yourself, it's fully your responsibility. So that will probably cost you like 10 hours a day, right? Plus you also need to do marketing. 12 hours, you need to take all the calls. It would be like 16 hours. So yeah, you probably work like 16 to 20 hours a day. That's impossible. But then you actually make sure that's a 10 out of 10, every single thing. But that's not an option. If you want to do everything yourself, you're not a business owner, right? You're a business owner when you have employees. That's the only way to like recognize if you're a business owner. So you need to make sure that instead of doing this type of stuff, you need to make sure that those people here optimize, like make sure that they do their work. They optimize those 5 steps, right? So let's say my virtual assistant takes like control over step 1 and step 2. My appointment setter does step 3, step 4, step 5, and then step 6, I'll do myself, right? But you need to make sure that every single step is like a 9 out of 10 minimum. Because if this would be a 7 out of 10, the outreach message will not even help. Because if you don't qualify someone, you will get like bad leads, right? A lot of leads will probably respond, but like you will never able to book a qualified call. When you don't do outreach, you're never able to have a conversation. But when an appointment setter is not good in having a conversation, you're never able to book a call, right? And if you are not like dialing into personal stuff, nobody will show up. So I'm not able to close anyone, right? Let's say this step is optimized, like all those steps are optimized. I have a lot of calls, but I'm not good at closing. The full funnel will fall away, right? So you need to make sure that every single step within the funnel that you have for your business is optimized. And the only way to do that is by making sure that every single person does it work. And making sure that everyone does it work, that does his work every single day, is by having a call daily, making sure they send an end of the day report, making sure that they like gather a lot of pain points and tell them to you, because you're the one that needs to optimize not this stuff, you're the one that needs to optimize those 2 people, right? Instead of doing it all yourself, you need to make sure that those 2 people perform. And the only way to make sure that those people perform is by getting a lot of insights on how their work structure is, right? So that means that you're now making decisions based on those 2 people, not on those 5 steps, right? So let's say there is a profile qualification problem, right? Your VA recognizes it, is going to tell it to you, and you need to fix that. You need to fix that process, right? So that means that you're going to tell it to the VA and he's going to fix that process himself. Because the only way to get A players within your team is by making sure that people can work independently. That's the only way, right? If you're able to have a conversation with someone, he gets it, he takes action on it, and he is now an independently person that can work without you, that's insane, right? What I'm doing right now is I'm training my appointment setters and VAs to work independently. Because if they can do that, that means that they can solve problems without me, right? That means that I have just automated a whole structure that can run without me. So when I want to go on a trip for 2 months, like 2 months is a little bit long, for 2 weeks, those guys know what to do, know how to solve their own problems, and know how to solve every single problem within those 5 steps. So I can go on a vacation of 2 weeks, right? And that is the beauty about making sure that you need to optimize every single step. Because like if one step is a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, you will decrease your revenue, your monthly revenue, with like 40-50%. Like if only one step is not optimized. Because if you don't do consistent outreach, let's say this part is very good, right? That means if you do 100 messages instead of 200, you will just miss out on 50% of the revenue. Because if you do 200, every single step will double, right? It will 2x. So you need to make sure that every single step is optimized and that your virtual assistants and that your appointment setters can work independently and can solve their problems. And the only way to do that is by telling them how to solve a problem if there is a gap, if there is a current pain, right? I hope this structure was very valuable, and I hope that you probably got an understanding now about how to manage your team, because that is so important. When we're gonna place appointment setters within our clients' businesses, we always make sure that the founder has a call of 15 minutes every single day. The appointment setters and the VAs also need to send like an end of the day report, right? So what they do in the end of the day report is they're gonna send like a short loom of 1 to 3 minutes of how the day was going, if they got any like pain points, struggles, whatever, notes. And what we do in the call is we're gonna review the whole situation, right? It doesn't need to be an hour, 50 minutes is enough, but make sure that those guys can work independently so they can solve all the problems within the funnel themselves. So that means you don't need to give attention to all those chains, to all those steps in order to create results, right? So that means you actually just automated a whole funnel that works, that produces money without any input of yourself, right? The only input that you do is you have to pay the payroll every 2 weeks, right? That's the only input you need to do in order to generate a lot of clients for yourself, right? And after that, when the funnel becomes bigger and bigger, when your VAs, when you have 2 VAs, 2 appointment setters, you probably can do the closing. You can like hire a closer because he or she can do that process for you, right? So you can really focus on like the service delivery part. I hope this video was very valuable. Make sure that you manage your VAs the right way. Watch my other video, my previous video. I actually explained every single thing on how to find an A-player performance appointment setter or virtual assistant, because this is the structure that you need to follow. You need to make decisions based on those people, not based on the steps that they need to do, right? And what I see most people doing is making decisions based on the actual work that needs to be happen instead of the people that needs to do that work, right? So you need to like think one step ahead, right? And that's what most people don't understand. So make sure that you manage those people the right way so they can perform the right way, right? And if they're able to perform the right way, you're actually just automated something. And that's the whole goal of a business, right? Creating a lot of leverage so you're actually able to focus on a lot of different things, right? To make sure that you got attention for a lot of other things, like service delivery, right? So I hope this video was valuable. Drop a like, follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on whatever, YouTube, right? And yeah, if you want our help to hire VAs, we actually implement VAs. So if you need 2 VAs, appointment setters, growth specialists as well, we do both. That we'll do like 300 outreaches to 500 outreaches every single day. Hit me up on Instagram and we'll talk about it, okay? So appreciate you watching, and see you later.